Mr. President,
The Majority Leader.
I ask unanimous consent the quorum be dispensed with.
Without objection.
Now, Mr. President, this States Senate will commence the final stage of confirming Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson as the 116th Justice of the United States Supreme Court. It's a joyous and history-making moment for the Senate. 115 individuals have come before this chamber for consideration to the highest court in the land, but none were like Judge Jackson. Like many before her, she's brilliant. She's esteemed and highly accomplished, but never before has the Supreme Court had a black woman bear the title of Justice. And she will pave the way for others to follow in her example. Not long from now, the Senate Judiciary Committee will conclude their markup of Judge Jackson's nomination by voting to report her out of committee. Chairman Durbin has adjusted the schedule to make sure all members are able to vote, but the process is moving forward. There is no question that Judge Jackson deserves a strong bipartisan vote in committee. But sadly, despite the judge's qualifications, Republicans on the committee have made clear that not one of them will vote to report her out of committee. If the Judiciary Committee does reach a deadlock vote later today, I will move as soon as I can to have the Senate hold a discharge vote so that her nomination can be considered by the full Senate. It's obvious, listening to Republicans, that their objections are entirely unserious. Many who label Judge Jackson as radical and far left today conveniently ignored that she received bipartisan support not once, not twice, but 3 times in this chamber, including by voice vote. They also failed to mention that Judge Jackson commands strong support from across the political spectrum, from conservative judges to the nation's largest police unions to a long list of former colleagues who say she is nothing short of the best of the best. Republicans in committee have ignored, in other words, the plain facts of Judge Jackson's record, and that is deeply disappointing. Judge Jackson is a brilliant and a historic nominee, and her elevation as the first black woman to the U.S. Supreme Court should bring the Senate together. Let's be clear. Despite Republican opposition, Judge Jackson has enough votes to get confirmed to the Supreme Court on a bipartisan basis. The Senate is going to keep working until she is confirmed. Once Judge Jackson is out of committee, I will file cloture on her nomination as quickly as possible, and in doing so, set in motion a process that will set up a final confirmation vote by the end of this week. I hope both sides can work together to advance her all but certain confirmation through the Senate without delay. Once again, I want to finish by commending Judge Jackson for conducting herself brilliantly and unassailably during the entire confirmation process. It's not easy to be thrown suddenly and abruptly into the national spotlight and have every detail of your life scrutinized. It's even harder to then engage in marathon sit-downs with nearly every senator in this body in just a few weeks. And it is nothing short of Herculean to endure 3 days of lengthy and at times deeply unfair and mendacious questioning before the Judiciary Committee with the eyes of the nation upon you. But 6 weeks after her nomination was announced, Judge Jackson has proven that she is up to the task before her. She has shown that she merits the title of Justice, and from this moment on, the Senate will not stop working until we finish the work of confirming Judge Jackson to the United States Supreme Court. Now, on other Senate business, this week the confirmation of Judge Jackson to the Senate court remains the highest Senate priority by far. But Senate Democrats will continue our work to lower costs for the American people. Last week, little noticed but quite important, the Senate passed the bipartisan ocean shipping reform spearheaded by Senators Klobuchar and Thune and Cantwell. This is very significant and much-needed legislation that will reduce costs for the American people by unclogging our ports from Los Angeles to New York to Savannah to Seattle. These backlogs have caused not only great harm for American exporters, trying to send their products out in the world. It's also skyrocketed the price of goods coming into the country, too. And ultimately, American consumers pay that price. I commend my colleagues for getting this important bill done. This week, the Senate is also close to entering a conference committee with the House to finalize our Jobs and Competitiveness Act. And tomorrow, Chair Cantwell will turn the focus of the Commerce Committee to an urgent matter for the American people, ensuring transparency in petroleum markets. We all know that big oil companies are dramatically expanding corporate stock buybacks and reporting record profits while Americans struggle with higher gas prices. Just today, this is so confounding, so upsetting. ExxonMobil indicated that its profits this quarter will be the highest in 2008, and then what are they going to do with this surplus cash? They announced in the coming months they will spend $10 billion on corporate stock buybacks. According to Bloomberg, oil and gas companies' stock buybacks were up 2,000% in the fourth quarter of last year. Using that to enhance worker productivity? Nope. Using that to do something some people might object to? Increasing exploration for oil and gas? Nope. Lining the pockets of their shareholders and their corporate executives in stock buybacks, which do nothing, absolutely nothing, to advance the American economy or to deal with the oil crisis. Maybe they should think instead of giving the money to the shareholders, they should give money to their customers. Give it back by lowering the price. It's the latest reminder of a disturbing trend with the oil and gas companies. As the price of gas goes up, and as Americans are struggling more and more to keep up, the nation's largest oil companies are up to their eyeballs in massive profits and then use that money for unproductive stock buybacks, which, if anything, increase income inequality at a time when the country needs to decrease it. There is something deeply incongruous and wrong about seeing the largest oil companies and gas companies in the world drench top executives and wealthy shareholders in cash, while Americans are struggling at the pump. And I thank Chair Cantwell for holding tomorrow's hearing so we can provide accountability, transparency, and relief, hopefully, for the American people. Finally, on COVID, very briefly, over the last few days, my Democratic colleagues and I continued talks with Senator Romney and Republicans, working all hours of the night and into the weekend. I will have more to say on this matter shortly. Yield the floor.